me this week for a week of dinners. Yay! I'm a pineapple on pizza girly. Want me a criminal? I also now have my parents coming over for dinner. It was a last minute decision. That'll be nice. My mum can critique her meal. But I will give you guys a bit of information when it comes to cooking with alcohol, especially when you have children. Just to crush some myths, that is a big one. Hello everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, hello. My name is Gabby. I'm 27 and live here in regional Victoria, Australia. I am a qualified pastry chef who's just recently returned back to work 2 days a week, as over a year ago I had a baby. My content consists of me being a stay-at-home mum, because that is currently my life at the moment, but also I show behind the scenes of my career as well. Come along with me this week for a week of dinners. Yay! I will preface this. I do only cook 4 nights a week, so this might be a bit redundant, but I just thought you guys coming along with me for the dinners that we're having this week would be just a little bit of fun. Just a little bit something different. So today I am starting this on a Tuesday, because on a Monday, Nick and I go to his grandmother's for dinner, so I didn't have to cook last night. But tonight, Tuesday, is generally like my big bulk meal for the week. This meal makes so many leftovers, we just eat it for lunch for the rest of the week, which is very convenient, especially with work. It is a beautiful meal, so I'm going to show you guys how I make it. It is a slow cooker meal, which is even better. I really want to incorporate more slow cooked meals into my routine because they're just so convenient. At the moment it is almost 11 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to get started on it now because it needs to cook for about 7 hours. I'll have it in the slow cooker on high for a few hours, just so it cooks a bit quicker. And then for the rest of the afternoon, later this afternoon when I come back from being into town, I will put it on low, and then it'll do the nice slow cook so the meat just falls apart. So let's get into it. Just grabbing my slow cooker. She is Beauty, she is Grace, she is Miss United States. I just have a Westinghouse slow cooker for anyone that is wondering. No idea how many liters it is, but it's the big one, so don't know if that helps. So tonight's dish is a slow cooked Italian beef. It is chef's kiss. I've had this meal growing up. My mum used to make this for us all the time. It is probably one of my top 5 favorite meals of all time. It is packed full of flavor, absolutely delicious, and it's so quick and easy to make. Here are a list of all the ingredients that you need. This is a dish that does contain alcohol, but I will give you guys a bit of information when it comes to cooking with alcohol, especially when you have children. The alcohol content in the alcohol that you're using, it cooks out of the meal. So we're first going to put the alcohol in a pan to cook with the onion and the garlic to start off with before putting it into the slow cooker. That will cook out a certain percentage of the alcohol at first, and then once I pop it in the slow cooker, it'll pretty much completely evaporate, about 97% of it, or even probably 100% of it, as it's going to be in there for about 7 hours. Or anyone gives any myths when it comes to alcohol, just because I put it in the pan for 10 minutes doesn't mean all the alcohol is cooked out of it. It actually takes 2.5 hours for alcohol to be cooked out of food, not just 10 minutes being seared in a pan. Just as an FYI for anyone who is cooking with alcohol, just to crush some myths, that is a big one. These are some of the vegetables we're going to start off with. I've got carrot, potato, sweet potato. I'll cut up some onion and some garlic. Alrighty, so I'm first going to cut up all of these vegetables. And I'm going to chuck that just straight into my slow cooker. This is such a great meal as well, just to bulk up with vegetables. I've already done 4 vegetables so far, and we're not even close to like finishing it. So you'll put even more vegetables later on. So when you've got kids, it's such a good meal to hide a whole lot of vegetables. So I'm going to cut up a whole onion. This is just a small one. Do not hate me on how I'm cutting my onion. This is how I like to cut it. Now that we've cut our onion, I'm going to get our pan ready and we're going to get cooking. Oh, I cannot open this. Here we go. So I do the opposite of what the recipe is telling me to do. I am going to brown off and cook off my alcohol in the pan first. So onion, garlic, wine. Cook that off. pop it in my slow cooker, and then I'm going to brown my meat. Reasoning for that, all of this flavor that I'm putting into the pan first, all of that flavor is going to get into the meat when you brown it off. A lot of recipes will tell you to brown your meat first and then put your onion, your garlic, and the alcohol in afterwards. I do it the opposite effect. It brings out so much more flavor into the meat when you are browning it. So I highly recommend doing it the opposite way. So I'm gonna put my onion in, my garlic. I'm gonna brown that first. Oh, my eyes. Duh. Alrighty, onions are sweating really well, so I'm going to turn the heat up and I'm going to add my wine. Well, actually, I'm not using wine, I'm using muscat. So muscat is technically a dessert liqueur, but in these beef slow cook recipes, muscat is so much nicer than just basic dry red wine. The sugar that is in the wine it just caramelizes so nicely, and it just brings another flavor to the recipe. I've actually tried red wine before because I just had a regular standard bottle of wine in my cupboard that I was given once. It definitely doesn't give the same flavor. So if you are able to or want to give muscat a try when you're making slow cooked meals, highly recommend. I'm just gonna let this simmer for like maybe 10 minutes before I put it in my slow cooker, and then we'll brown off the meat. See you in a few hours. So it's almost 5 o'clock. We're about to go for a walk in a minute, but I'm just going to finish off with the slow cooker before we head off. It is looking amazing at the moment. Here she is in all of her glory. So now I'm going to pop in the last of the veggies and the gnocchi. Personally, I choose gnocchi. It is delicious with it. The recipe says to use gnocchi. You could just use another pasta if you really wanted to. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to add some zucchini, and I might even put in some beans this time. Having a think of it, but I don't think my husband would appreciate the beans. Maybe I'll leave the beans out. I might put spinach in it instead. I'll do zucchini and spinach. We'll do that. The things we do for our husbands, honestly. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Hello everybody. Oh my god, I am so tired today. It is 5:45 at the moment. So we've made a bit of a switch. Usually tonight it would be like steak night or like a quick meal, but we've actually switched it as takeaway night, which is very convenient because I have had the busiest day at work today and I cannot be bothered cooking. So my husband is on his way home with takeaway. God bless him. He is having a kebab and I'm having a HSP, which I am very excited about. I have been thinking about it all day. I've had the busiest day at work today. One of the boys did not show up today, so I had extra things to do. I didn't have time to do everything that I wanted to do today as well. I didn't finish work until like just after 5 o'clock. So I had to race to go pick Amelia up and race home. So now I need to pack all the shit away and get stuck into my HSP, which should be here soon, which I'm so excited about. We're gonna have HSP! Yay! Want to put the rings on? Yay! Good job! Woo! Oh, Mum put one on. Thank you. Hello everybody, happy Thursday. So I've already stuffed up. I didn't even show you my HSP from last night. In all honesty, I'm sure none of you would have been very interested in seeing my greasy slop of food from last night. But it wasn't until after I finished my HSP that I was like, the vlog. Already on a rocky start. Honestly, already was on a rocky start because I started it on a Tuesday, not even on a Monday, because I didn't even cook on Monday. So we are now on to Thursday night dinner. I will be making my childhood favourite meal. It is my mum's cottage pie. It is just delicious. I love it. I love making it. My husband, on the other hand, not really into it, but oh well, he can get over it. For anyone who doesn't know the difference between a cottage pie and a shepherd's pie, cottage pie is made with beef mince. A shepherd's pie is made with lamb. I was about to say sheep. I mean lamb. Anyway, let's get into making dinner because it is almost 4:30 and I have to wake Amelia up. And cooking dinner with Amelia is a nightmare sometimes, honestly. So while I get everything out, I'm just going to pop on the screen here everything that you need for this meal. So at the moment, I've just got my mince in a pot. It's still a little bit frozen, so I'm just letting it defrost a little bit in the pot. So I'm just going to grate and cut my veggies up. Let's wash all of this dirt out of this leaf. Oh, I should be doing my potatoes first. Stupid me, I should be doing my potatoes first. I should know this. I've been making this meal for years and years and years, but I still do it wrong. So I'm gonna cut up my potatoes first. So I'll just cut these potatoes up just a bit smaller so they can cook quicker. So my mince are browning really nicely and I've got my potatoes cooking. So I'm just going to add my leek and carrot into there. Just going to let that cook down and soften for a little bit. And I'm also going to add some peas and some corn. Just the frozen stuff is fine, honestly. And I'm also just going to go preheat my oven. I personally bake it on 200 degrees, just on fan force. Degrees Celsius. Okay. What you doing? It's your meal. It's your meal. I just put milk in a little like sippy cup for Amelia. She's not gonna see. So I'm just getting my pastry out for the pie. Just gonna let it defrost while I finish making up the filling. I just use the Coles ones. I don't really see much of a difference. They're just a hell of a lot cheaper than the other brand. What is it called? Papa's or something like that. I don't really see much of a taste difference. That's just my personal preference. So I just bought the Coles ones. If anyone thinks I'm actually making this stuff from scratch, you'd be wrong. So let's assemble. So I'm going to grab my pastry sheet, put this on one half and just stretch it out. Grab the other half, put that on the other side and just squish them together. I'm going to grab my filling. Sorry, but I am left-handed, so I cannot show you this in a better way. I'm going to put my filling in, spread it out evenly. And then my potato layer, which I'll spread out nice and evenly. I don't really care if it doesn't reach like the sides here because I'm going to fold them over anyway. So fold them over like that, fold it over like that. I'll just grab a little bit of cheese, chuck a little bit of cheesy bits on the mashed potato. And just with a little bit of butter and milk left over, I'm just gonna wash it over the pastry just so it browns really nicely. And we're done. Pop it in the oven. I think it's gonna take about 40 minutes or so in the oven. So pop this in the oven and I'll show you when it comes out. I also now have my parents coming over for dinner. It was a last minute decision, but they are now coming over for dinner. So that'll be nice. My mum can critique her meal that I'm making for her. We are almost at the end of the week. We have had a very productive day today. We've gone to the gym early. Amelia went to creche, went and did our grocery shopping, just went for a nice big walk, did a lot of jobs around the house, edited and uploaded a new video today. So if you haven't gone and seen that, go and watch it. It's just all about my pastry school experience. Tonight we are having steak. We have swapped our takeaway night to Wednesday. So we're now doing a smaller meal on a Friday. And tonight is steak night. So I'll show you guys how I like to cook my steak. First, I need to put chips in the oven. These are the chips we use. They are delish. A little bit of chicken salt. So before I cook it, I am going to season my steak. I don't season it the way other people season their steak. We do salt and pepper, but I also put this other seasoning on. It is delicious. I've shared this before, but we use this Master Foods steak seasoning. It is so good. Highly recommend it. If your steak's a bit boring, definitely give it a try because it is delicious. So tonight we have a little thin porterhouse steak, and I've also got some Scotch fillet steaks. I usually prefer a Scotch fillet. It's just a bit more tender, but I had a spare one in the freezer, so I'm whipping it out and Mick will have that one. So I'm gonna get my pan ready. Chuck on some olive oil. I was waiting for that to get hot. So we both like our steak medium, so it's still a little bit pink in the middle. Not medium too well done, not medium rare, just medium. I'll generally cook it for either 5.5 to 6 minutes on each side. Salad, obviously a very tiny salad for my husband, typical. And then once the steak's done, I'll rest it for about 5 or so minutes, just until it's completely done, and that'll be dinner. Hello everybody, we have officially made it to Saturday. Tonight is homemade pizza night. We pretty much do homemade pizzas every single Saturday. Reason for that is my husband works long hours on a Saturday. He works for himself. His days on a Saturday vary, so he'll either come home early or he'll come home late. So I don't like to plan something that I've got to make and serve. I'd rather just make something quick and easy that I can make and then just make it when he gets home. Since I'm not sure when he'll be home, I generally will just make my own, and then when he gets home, he'll just make his dinner, and it's just easier that way. So I'll get everything out that I need to make 4 pizzas. So this is everything that I'm going to be putting on my pizza. We just use the Coles pizza bases. They just look like that. They are delicious. Highly recommend. We have tried other brands and we always come back to just the regular Coles brand. So if you're ever going to have a homemade pizza, these ones are delicious and they're very cheap. On my pizza, I generally just do vegetables. I'll put a little bit of ham. I'll put a little bit of chicken, and I am going to put pineapple. I'm a pineapple on pizza girly. Call me a criminal. I just love the sweet and the salty together. There's just something about it, you know. I'm sure all the people who are pineapple on pizza people will understand what I'm talking about. And my husband will generally make like a sort of like a barbecue meat lovers sort of ordeal. I've always got a lot of shit to like put on these pizzas. This is just like stuff that we'll have that goes on our lunches or that'll go into dinners or snacks or whatever. We just put it all on a pizza. Yeah. Like there's always essential stuff that I always have in the fridge. Like we have chicken for rolls. I'll have cherry tomato for rolls. If I make something like an omelette or whatever, I always have zucchini and mushrooms available. Pineapple, I just buy it for the pizza. But for people who don't like to do homemade pizzas because there's just a lot of admin, if it's stuff that you use regularly, then it doesn't make any difference. A pizza night can actually be a lot easier than you think, especially if you do it often. You'll always have this stuff anyway. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to make my pizza.